Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am back with another version of my 1 hour rag quilt. We are going to try something completely different today. If you want to see what I mean when I say the 1 hour rag quilt, I will have a link down below to the previous one that I made. What did I do? Oh, I had used 2 pieces of flannel, and we don't do any piecing. We don't cut any squares and put them back together. It's just done with 2 layers of fabric. Today, I am going to be using my muslin. I'll talk to you about that in a second. And I'm going with a print this time. This is just cotton. The muslin is 100% cotton, so there's no flannel. I didn't want to take a chance of getting all kinds of little linty things happening this time. As for the muslin, I had ordered some of this on Amazon, and I made a muslin and denim quilt, which I absolutely loved. The looks of it, how it came out, all that. The muslin is just, I just like the looks of it. So I will link to that video series down below also. And I noticed that Amazon had it again, and even at a lower price than what I paid. I think I paid $3.91 per yard the first time and free shipping, and I think I paid $3.45 per yard this time. Free shipping. I got 3 yards. It is, I believe, 60 inches wide. Now the first time I washed and dried it first because I was using denim with it, so I washed and dried both fabrics separately because I didn't want the denim to run into the muslin. But this time, I am not washing. I am not pre-washing it because I want these 2 cottons to shrink together and do whatever magic they want to do when the quilt is done. So I'm going to cut this, I don't know, let me think a minute. All right, here is what I decided. This fabric is obviously not 60 inches wide, so I'm going to figure out how wide this is. And that's how wide I'll need my muslin to be. And this is about 44 wide, including the selvages. I might cut the selvages off before we start this time. So let's say 44 inches long. I'm just going to, make it a square. Oh, but wait a second. How is that going to affect the final quilt? Because we're going to be doing something on the diagonal this time. Hang on a sec, gotta think. All right, here's what I decided. Because I don't know how the sewing on the diagonal is going to affect the piece, I'm just going to go ahead and start with 2 squares of fabric, and we'll just see what happens. And if it is like in one direction way narrower than long, well, it might be okay like that, or we can just trim the other ends. I don't know. We're just going to go with it and see what happens. So I'm going to cut this 44 inches long, and I will also do the same with the muslin, and then I'll be right back. I just cut this piece, and I want to show you how I'm going to quickly and easily cut the selvage off. I'm just going to fold. Oh, and don't open this and try to press out this crease of the fold. This is important. We need that fold. It's going to help us center our 2 pieces of fabric. I'm just going to fold this, a couple times. And I'm just going to, have just a little bit to cut. If my scissors can go through it all. Like that. Because we don't care how straight things are. Okay, I need to cut my muslin. I'll be right back. So now I want to show you that I hit just a tiny little stumbling block. This muslin was obviously taken off a big roll, like you see sometimes fabrics are rolls on the wall, because it was not folded, so I did not have a crease down the center that I want. And it was super wrinkled, so I pressed it just a little bit, and I folded it, so now I have a nice fold. So I just went ahead and put the selvages together. That's the easiest way. And then I pressed down. Now I'm just going to lay my other piece of fabric on top. And I'm just going to, lay this flat, trim around it, be right back. So this is what I have. Let me back up a little bit. I forget that I can raise my tripod and maybe you can see a little bit more. I just trimmed around this. That was super easy. I did leave like a 1/2 inch around, just, I don't know, just because I felt like it. And this is what I have left, that are the two, pieces that are left over from the salvage. We will be putting this to good use. And I do want to mention, before I forget, this is just 2 pieces of cotton, so it's not going to be a very weighty quilt or blanket. You are more than welcome to add a layer of flannel in between. Do not add polyester batting, because of the way we're cutting, your batting would show, and that will not fringe at all. You could use fleece. I've been asked about fleece, but when you snip that again will not fringe. The stretchy ones, because there's a stretch on one way to the fleece and not the other. The stretchy ones, if you were to pull them, those would get curly, but in the other direction they won't. But although we're cutting on the diagonal, so all the polyester fleece might get curly. I don't know. I'll have to experiment with that sometime. But feel free to put something in between if you want a more weighty quilt. So here we go. We're going to open these up. I got to get this off from around my neck. Do you know, just something like this, because it's plastic, around my neck? I mean, I'm so hot. It's like I could wear this in lieu of a winter coat and go outside. Whew, that was hot. All right, I'm going to open these. Obviously, this is my top. The muslin will be the back of the quilt. So I want to place my top with the right side down. And I determined that I want my fold line this way because it's easy for me to put the 2 pieces of fabric together. And now I'm opening my muslin, and there's no right or wrong side to this, so I'm just going to put the fold line where, the bumpy side is down, so they kind of just like fall into place together. Just gonna shake that out. Ew, but we want to, you know what I'm gonna do? I am going to put just a couple of safety pins, or do I want straight pins? I'm going to take a chance with straight pins. I'm just going to put a couple of pins to hold my fold lines together, because we're going to need to have this open. So let me just do like one more here, and then on this end. And again, we're not aiming for perfection here. We're aiming for okay. All right, I think that's okay. We are going to, you know what? Those pins have got to go on the top side of the fabric. So let's take those out because I don't want them to be buried when I'm sewing. Okay, let's flip this baby over. See, I learn as I go because I've never done this before. I've never even seen it be done. I'm making it up! Okay, better. Because we're going to be sewing in the diagonal and I don't want to be running over pins. So here I go again. I'm going to just put a couple of pins across here just to hold this into place a little bit. And I don't know if you could see, but I'm just going to put a couple. Maybe I'll put, no, I don't need any in the center. Okay, now we're going to be sewing with the top side always at the needle. So we have to flip this upside down again. And I'm going to fold diagonally, one corner to the other. And I think I want to do it, that doesn't matter, but I'm just going to grab this corner. Maybe if I turn it this way, you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to fold to this corner. So I'm just putting corners together, diagonal. Oh my goodness, I like this already. So now I have a big triangle. And I can see I'm not perfectly squared up, which is no surprise to me. Okay, this side here, can you see that it's pretty much even? Pretty much. That's all we go for, is pretty much. But when I show you this side, because I'm not completely squared up, I am going to trim this part off. So we'll have what is you know, a pretty good triangle. Can you see what I'm talking about? See how this fabric is sticking out? Here's the top layer, here's the bottom layer. So I'm going to trim that. There, now I have what looks like a pretty decent triangle. You know, save yourself the stress and don't try to cut things perfectly at the beginning, because no matter what, when you fold things over or whatever, you're going to probably still have to trim. So just slap things together, trim as needed. We know this is not wasted. These 2 pieces of fabric will go into beautiful crumb quilt projects, whatever. So it's never a waste. Now, without forgetting that I do have some pins here, we are going to sew down this diagonal fold. Get my drift? I know you can't see everything in one glance, but see, here's the point. Here's our fold. I have a nice triangle in that direction, and I'm going to put a couple of pins, and we're just going to sew about 1 inch in all the way down, and that will be the fold that we will be cutting open. So I'm going to just put a couple pins. I'll finish doing that, and then I'll take you to the machine. Okay, I'm going about 1 inch in. You know, if you don't have a line showing you 1 inch, you can always just take a piece of tape and lay it down. Some black electrical tape is good because that comes off really easy. Whatever you have. And I'm just going to start. My fabric is still a little uneven. I'm okay with that. I'm just going to start. I'm scared. Oh, and again, thread color doesn't really matter too much because everything's going to get snipped and get curly, and it will cover the thread line. I'm just using white because that's what I happen to have. And during the editing, I might be skipping the parts where I pull out the pins, and I know some of you wonder if I just leave my pins in. No, I pull them all out as I go. Okay, let's go back to the table. So now we have our triangle with this fold sewn, and I'm going to do like we did for the other quilt. I'm going to stick my scissors in here, and I'm just going to cut all the way down that fold. And those other pins that I had holding this together, I took those all out now. Very curious to see how this is going to react. Cut on the diagonal. I think it's going to be super cool, and I do think if you use fleece that it might all curl, so you might want to try that. Now we are going to turn this upside down again. I just changed my mind about something that I was telling you, and I have no idea where I left off, so I'm just going to start over. I am momentarily going to flip this so that my right side is up. And I mentioned, but that might get cut out, that I need to decide how many lines I want in this direction. And you are more than welcome to put as many as you want. I've decided I'm going to do 2, just for the sake of the tutorial. So what I want to do is make sure that I don't want my last, line to be too close to the corner, because I want that corner to be, substantial. I don't know what I'm saying. So let's say that I want my last line to come about here. That would be like at the 18 mark. So I'm going to go halfway there to the 9 mark. And what I'm going to do for right now is I'm just going to put a pin on the diagonal right there at the 9-inch mark. Okay? Now I'm going to flip this over because we want to sew on this side. And I'm just going to fold this. This was easy. Just going to fold this so that I can see my pin. It's right there. And I can see that I'm pretty even enough And I'm just going to hold down this fold with a couple of pins. Just a couple this time. Now we will go sew on that fold. I'm really liking this. I hope it comes out good. Okay, here I go. Just sliced right through that. Same thing, I'm going to turn this over. I think it would look really cool with more, snipped lines, but I just don't, want to take the time for that. Just want to show you guys the basics, and then you guys can take it and do whatever you want with it. So I think we determined that I want to go down like about another 9 inches, right to there. And I'm going to put a pin there. That marks it for us. I'm going to turn it back over, and I'm going to fold up until I see that pin. Just so cool. Pin down my fold. The stitch line gets shorter and shorter. I'm going to go sew down this fold now. I'm gonna slice this guy open now. And now, all I have to do is go ahead and do the same to this side. And then we will have a diagonal cut rag quilt that I will be able to show you better after. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up off camera. I'm just going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go down like 9 inches, put a pin, I'll sew there. Another 9 inches, put a pin to mark, and I'll sew there. And then I'll be right back. I've decided that I am going to make this a 2-part series, so I am going to finish this off camera because it happens to be Christmas Day, and I have some other fun things that I'd like to actually try to do today, because that's how I'm treating myself for Christmas. All the work I can squeeze into one day is what I want. So I'm going to finish this, and then I will come back to show you how I'm going to finish the edge. And then I'll do the snipping and the washing and drying, and we'll be done. So, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this series. Bye!